This month in comics.
I got you covered.
But what you got?
It's a fantastic book.
Damn it. What did you do?
I'll find you a book for it.
Get your comic on.
Polka dot, polka dot, polka dot, polka dot.
Greetings, Meta-Humans and Mutants. Welcome to the QUESTionnaire. I'm Dave, your favorite local comic guy, and this is This Month in Comics for June 2023. Gonna fly solo today. Hopefully we get a decent show here for you, but we're gonna kind of keep it quick, but we're gonna hit you with the big ones. The biggest thing that happened this month came out, huge surprise, came out of nowhere. Robert Kirkman. Man, that guy can really stick it to us sometimes. But he also gives us the best. This time around, it was a book called Void Rivals. Void Rivals. Saw the solicits a few months ago. It's like, big deal. Let's see. So we've got a black hole. We've got a couple of civilizations, that are circling the black hole, and they don't like each other, so they're always killing each other. What happens when these two pilots from these civilizations meet up and crash land on a planet and have to rely on each other to survive? Seemed like something I'd seen back in the 1980s called Enemy Mine. It was really good. Louis Gossett Jr., was all made up. It was a good movie. I figured that's pretty much what we were going to get here. And then Void Rivals came in. I was like, okay, looks like a pretty, decent book. And then the son of a gun dropped freaking Transformers right into the middle of it. Wait, Transformers in this book. Wait, that was Jetfire? Jetfire, about halfway through it, he just shows up. Now, a few months ago, well, actually, I guess about a year and a half ago, there was rumblings that Robert Kirkman's Skybound was gonna be carrying G.I. Joe and Transformers. They had bought the rights for it. Well, we hadn't heard anything. Not a thing since 2022. And then he just drops it on us, right in the middle of nowhere. My comic book store went nuts. People were showing up. Do you have this? Do you have this? Yeah, luckily we did have it. We did order really good for it because the owner of my store, that he loves Robert Kirkman. He's followed Kirkman since the Invincible days and Battle Pope. So whenever Kirkman puts a book out, he always bets on the side of ordering a few too many as opposed to ordering a few too few. And he got plenty, and we almost sold out completely within the first couple weeks. So Void Rivals starts the whole new Inner John universe that Kirkman's creating. He's going to be relaunching Transformers in October with Daniel Warren Johnson writing and drawing. Are you kidding me? Daniel Warren Johnson, one of the best out there. So Transformers starts up in October. Larry Hama, the living legend, coming back in November. G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, number 301, starts back up with Larry Hama in November. So right where it left off last November, when it left IDW, we're going to be picking right up again. New art team, looking to see some really good art's going to be coming out of here. We've also got a new Duke miniseries starting up in December. I expect that this Duke miniseries and the Cobra Commander miniseries starting up in January will be creating a new mythology for G.I. Joe in the Skybound universe, or the Inner John universe, as they're going with. So lots of things coming out of Skybound for G.I. Joe and Transformers. Something for the old guys like myself who grew up with this in the 80s and want those stories to continue the same as they were. And then a bunch of new stuff coming out too, which I'm really excited for. Glad to see we've got like top talent coming on board for these books. So can't push this enough. Get out there, get a hold of Void Rivals. Second printing is coming out early in July. And the spoiler is right there on the front, going to be on the cover. It's basically the interior picture of Jetfire, showing up to these two aliens. and getting back to those guys are pretty cool too. That's a really cool story that's going on between these two downed pilots that are in this story. They keep talking about how, oh, it's a crime for me even to look at you. It's a crime for you to know my name. It's, it's a cardinal sin if you find out, that I wear this, and it's all these things are happening. They're like, just every reason you should hate each other. And then they take off their helmets and they turn out they're the same darn species. They've just had their entire worlds, separated by some political machinations that said, oh, you guys have got to hate planet A, and planet A, you've got to hate planet B, and you guys can never intermeet. So I'm actually kind of interested to see how that story plays out as well. And how are they going to interact with Transformers and G.I. Joe as well. So that is by far the best thing that's come out of comics in the month of June. But it's not the only thing. And I don't recall if I talked with Jay about this in a previous one. It's a book called World Tree, and a weird spelling, W0 World 3, whatever. It's Leet speak, 90s, whatever. And the characters in the story are actually dealing with something they thought they finished 20 years ago in the early days of the internet. And in this one, we've got a very interesting idea where there's a dark subnet, or the undernet, I believe is what they call it. And in the undernet, there's something, a virus that infects not just your computers, but also infects your minds. And this group of teenagers, now adults in different parts of the world, have got to come back together to put an end to this virus getting out and just destroying the world. The art's insane. James Tynion hits us with a really strong characters. Some very cool visuals are being put out by Blanco. People's faces de-rezzing, and there's just some good gore, there's some good action, there's some good storytelling, actually great storytelling. Tynion is a fantastic storyteller, and I can't support him enough. So get out there, get a hold of World Tree. That one's a short one, I know, review, but World Tree number 3 is out. Pick up all 3 issues, should find them in your comic shop if your retailer is smart and ordered enough of those. The next thing I'm going to come up to was a little controversial in the early part of the month. There had been a teaser that someone was going to die as Amazing Spider-Man number 26. Was it going to be Mary Jane? Was it going to be Mary Jane's new boyfriend, husband that she has kids with? Something really was weird there. There's Spider-Man. There's Norman Osborn. There's a whole bunch of different people listed on the cover of this book. And who's going to die? Oh, heck, there's even the White Rabbit was on there. I was like, chances pretty good it's going to be the White Rabbit. Yeah, no one really cares about her. She's kind of fun, but she's just a, C-list, gangster character that works for Tombstone. And it turned out to be one of my favorite characters ever. It was Ms. Marvel. Well, I know it's a spoiler cover, and it's been a month. I think if you're going to know about it, you know about it. And the book came out and had this really amazing spoiler cover that's very reminiscent of the Crisis on Infinite Worlds. And a lot of people are upset about this book. Not just because Ms. Marvel got killed, but they said that it was more of a refrigerator scene, harking back to the 1990s when Kyle Rayner, the new chosen Green Lantern's girlfriend, was shoved into a refrigerator, and really only became a trope of let's kill off the romantic partner of our lead to give that person some motivation to become a hero. I don't think that's what happened here. A lot of people are saying that's what it was, and it's not. She's not a romantic character for anybody in this book. She was impersonating, using one of her original powers of being able to morph and look like anybody else, as she did when her powers first manifested and she turned into Ms. Marvel in the very first Ms. Marvel comic. This time she turned herself into Mary Jane. Mary Jane had been prophesized that she was going to die at the end of the book, and the big bad was going to kill her, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to kill the redhead. Well, he does kill the redhead, but it was Kamala Khan, aka Ms. Marvel, impersonating Mary Jane. And she died. And what upset me personally about it was that she didn't look like Kamala Khan. She didn't really act like Kamala Khan for most of the book, and she hadn't been since she showed up in Amazing Spider-Man. And unless they told you it was Kamala Khan every time she appeared in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man, you wouldn't have known it was her, because John Romita Jr. doesn't know how to draw Kamala Khan. She looks like a 26-year-old med graduate as opposed to a 16-year-old high school intern that's for some reason at Oscorp and working with Peter Parker. Didn't make a lot of sense to me. I didn't go for that idea. I was like, this doesn't... They didn't even team up together in any of the previous 25 issues. They just kind of saw each other in a lab here and there. Didn't really work together much, just passing each other. Oh, hi, Kamala. Is that Kamala Khan? Why is she as tall as Peter? And why does she not look like a high school kid anymore? That's what upset me. I didn't mind that she died, really. I know she's going to be back. It's comics. People come back. I mean, Superman died, and everyone thought they were going to get rich off of that. But he came back. It took 2 years, but he came back. If it tells me anything, it tells me that Kamala Khan just hit the big leagues. You don't kill off a character like Kamala Khan for no reason. You're going to bring her back in time for the movie coming out, The Marvels, in November of this year. And Kamala's hit the big time. She's a big enough character now that killing Ms. Marvel actually got people excited. People talked about it. People got angry. People, didn't get angry. But people talked about it. And that is actually what they were going for, I'm sure. Could have done it better, but I'm not mad. I know she'll be back, and she's going to get her own, series start back up again. And I'll be there for it. So that's what I was going for on the Spider-Man there. Pick it up. It's actually a good read. I'm just busting its balls a little bit. Well, that's only the books I'm going to cover really this month of June. There was some others, but nothing really jumped out at me and said, hey, you got to make sure you tell everybody about this. Those 3 books I told you about, Void Rivals, the biggest, Tinian's World Tree. If you're not on it, you're missing out. Get in there. And Amazing Spider-Man, never going to let you down. Ed McGuinness is doing the art for Zeb Wells right now on the current run, and Dr. Octopus is kicking ass. It's good stuff. Get into it. But let's do some trades. I know that the Factor always likes to talk about reading some trades. Just finished a great one. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips are back for another one of their amazing OGNs. This one's called Night Fever, and it's a departure from, they've been only doing Reckless books for the last 2 years. They've put out 5 books in the last 2 years for the Reckless 1980s PI kind of story with a lot of grit and noir. This one's a little different. We're following a businessman flying over to Europe to hawk some books, and can't sleep one night. Walks down to the lobby and starts following some people around just because he's got nothing better to do, and gets taken on a wild ride. And he gets reminded of why he's alive and why he's there. As a middle-aged man myself, reading through this story really got me excited because this guy has just gone through the paces. He feels trapped. He feels like no matter what he's doing, it's not going to be enough. He's not satisfied. I'm trapped in a job. that pays really well, that takes care of my family. I've got a beautiful wife. I've got great kids. I get to see the world. Why am I upset? And this little adventure puts him back on path of realizing how lucky he really is. But being a Brubaker and Phillips book, you know there's going to be all sorts of weird stuff going on with lots of underworlds. You've got gangsters and spies and double dealings and knives to the throat and guns to the head and people getting bashed around. Is it a happy ending? Well, you'll have to pick it up. Night Fever. Get it. You won't be sad. You won't be sad. I'm serious. Now, that's the new OG. But I've got something else that if you haven't done this, if you haven't read this book, what is wrong with you? It's one of the greatest love stories I've ever read in comics. Strangers in Paradise. Man, I gotta tell you, Terry Moore can do it all. He's got beautiful women, he's got cartooning, he's got intrigue and spies, and a little bit of occult that pops up here and there in his books. But Strangers in Paradise started this all with just two characters who kind of knew each other, were friends in high school. And are they going to fall in love now in the future, now as they're adults? It's a new publication of the award-winning books. So Volume 1 came out this month, and we got our beautiful girl there, Kachu, right there on the cover. Pick this up, read it, fall in love with these characters all over again. I'm going to do it. You need to do it. Terry Moore wants you to do it too. Don't miss out on Strangers in Paradise. Volume 1 should cover, let's see, the first 20 issues of Strangers in Paradise. Much better than the pocket book edition, which I started reading it. And this is going to feel a lot nicer to have on your bookshelf. It's great stuff. Get it. And finally, the thing that's going to make the Factor so mad. Factor, you're going to hate me for having this, because I just taught you about the wonderful Deadly Class comic, and my library edition showed up. Volume 4 of Deadly Class by Rick Remender and Craig and Wes Craig. This finishes the amazing story, the 1980s class of kids who are being taught how to be the world's greatest assassins. They've gone through some shit, man. They've killed people. They've had friends and loved ones killed. And now they're, in this book, they're finally going to get their chance to take down the evil that has plagued their life for the last 2 years. Deadly Class. Man, I can't say enough about this book. I ain't going to say enough about this book. I'm going to stop myself from going too far into it. But we're almost at 20 minutes into this already. And I was saying I was going to keep it short and sweet. Deadly Class. If you haven't picked this up, pick up the original Volume 1. You can get it for $10. That's how it works. $10. Get the first trade. Read it. Realize why you should be reading it. It's heart pounding. It's fast. It's breakneck fast. I mean, they've got girls on motorcycles with swords. You got guys with Uzis shooting at them, taking them out. It's oh man, it's so gut wrenching. It's so good. You should be reading it. Why aren't you reading it? I should be looking at the camera. Read it. That's where I'm going to stop this week. Deadly Class. Get a hold of it. Hold on to it. Put it on your shelf. Share it with a friend. Do that. I ain't got much else for you right now. But we're going to try doing this maybe weekly. Maybe hitting you with a new book. A couple new books every week. Let's see what Factor says about that. Keep it secret on that, all right? All right, anyway. I'm Dave, your favorite local comic book guy, telling you to go out, get your comics on. Peace.
This month in comics.
I got you covered.
But what you got?
It's a fantastic book.
Damn it. What did you do?
I'll find you a book for it.
Get your comic on.
Poke it out, poke it out, poke it out, poke it out.